how do you and Marty adjust your methods as AI is becoming more central to the product discovery and decision making? What leadership habits do you carry or do you exchange with each other?
Developing products, they've always been these big four buckets since the history of time. One is deciding what to do, whether you call that strategy. The other is how you do it with discovery. Then there's delivering it, kind of building it and delivering it, and then getting it to the hands of your customers. Mari always talks about like the Waymo example, if you're a self-driving car, the choice of should I drive into a wall or should I hit a person? In that way, you can start to see where those things start to get very interesting. And the decision-making aspect, someone's boasting to me, I asked ChatGPT to give me 20 ideas for my products, and it gave me 20 good ideas. I said, why did you stop at 20? Why don't you ask it for 2,000 ideas? It will give you 2,000 ideas. Now you can really see that your work is not the ideation, but discerning which of those ideas is good for our customers and our business right now.
If you could leave one product artifact for the next generation leaders, or a guide of sorts, or a book of sorts, what would you suggest?
Oh boy. If probably in the leadership stuff, I tell people when you become a leader or a manager, your products are no longer the things you build. Your products are the people under your care.
So, hi all, I'm Satya. Welcome to the Priceless Conversations, the podcast where we navigate the art and science of product management, automation, AI, and pricing. We do this with a mix of wit, wisdom, and some dashboard war-related stories here and there. I am Satya, a scientist who found her way in the world of AI and product management. And yes, I still use a lot of research, data, and connect a lot of dots across domains and different problem statements.
Thank you, Satya. And I'm Amit. I work in product management and pricing, helping teams decide what to build and how to charge for it. I ask the hard questions and share lessons from the field. So glad everyone's tuning in today. In fact, we have an amazing guest with us, partner at SVPG, and the amazing Christian Idiodi. Hi, Christian. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
It's so nice to meet you and finally record you for the podcast. We've all heard of about SVPG, the work it has done within product management and shaping the direction of product management as we see. Yes, you've been wonderful along with Marty Kagan, and you've coached so many companies and transformed a lot of companies to that product operating model. What is it that you most counterintuitive metric or signal you've seen that separates this doomed efforts versus the ones that truly click?
Oh boy. It's almost, when people ask me, what is my best product? Because I've participated or built over 200 products. I used to always say, well, my truest best products are my kids. But in a work environment, it's actually not the products I've built, but the people I have coached or supported. My best products are Satya that joined me as an intern 20 years ago that is now CEO of a big company, or someone that started as a product manager that is now CPO of a big tech company. It's almost the same thing in transformation and the work I do. I've done it now about 6 years with SVPG, and I have stopped looking at the impact of companies changing, because companies have existed for a long time and many will exist for much longer. But really the impact in lives changed. I truly fundamentally believe I do a lot of my work more for the individuals in those companies than the companies themselves. Because if Amit is a better product manager, that means by default there'll be better products in the world. Right? If he's better value to him as an individual, he'll be better value to his team, better value to the company, better value to the customers that the company serves. So what clicks for me, what fires me up every day are the people that get better at this craft every day from our work, because that means there are better solutions to problems in the world.
Wonderful.
So, Christian, you have been doing a lot of coaching at SVPG on transformation. And we also hear one more name that's quite popular in the product world is Marty Kagan. And we are quite curious to know, how do you and Marty adjust your methods as AI is becoming more central to the product discovery and decision making? Is it a synergistic effect? I leave the answer to you. And then what leadership habits do you carry or do you exchange with each other as well?
Oh boy, that's well, two questions there, kind of the impact of AI on our work and kind of leadership habits. Developing products, they've always been these big four buckets since the history of time. One is deciding what to do, whether you call that strategy. The other is how you do it with discovery. Then there's delivering it, kind of building it and delivering it, and then getting it to the hands of your customers. When the internet kind of came, there was a big disruption to the fourth bucket of product distribution. How do I get my product to the hands of my customers? When that happened, when it became easy with the internet to get your products to customers, you saw a big emphasis. Okay, we've got to build things well. We've got to decide what to do better, and we've got to solve problems better. It's now easier to reach customers. Typically, when there's a big disruptive technology that affects one of those buckets, it elevates the importance of the other buckets. I think AI is going to do is really disrupt the bucket of product delivery, how we build things, how we might test things, how we might deploy things in our world. It's going to be easier than ever to create or build things in some way. So what that's going to do is going to heighten the importance of the other two buckets. What are we going to create? The choices. If everybody can build something, then the choice of what you create is going to be important. How you win with strategy. So strategy and discovery will take center stage, even more so than it has in our past, because building and delivering things will become easier. I'm always wary because, when we even had mobile, people where I am an iOS product manager, I am an Android product. You don't hear that anymore. It's almost the same thing now with everybody saying I'm an AI product manager. 5 years from now, we'll all be like, as opposed to what? Who doesn't do AI? This is kind of the impact of disruptive emerging technology in our work. What we have to understand is that there will always be emerging technology. The crux of good product work is how we leverage emerging technology to solve problems in the ways customers love or work for your business. Now, there are two aspects of AI: how it affects how we build products and how we build intelligent products, things that leverage AI. So those are two distinct parts. How AI might affect, context with vision and strategy and objectives, how AI might affect discovery and enablement and productivity. We are already seeing a lot of that in our work, co-piloting with AI to create value. How we build intelligent products, like using AI and intelligence in solving problems, it's still very nascent. We are still at the very early stages. This technology is evolving very quickly before our eyes. And the risk, however, we are still seeing are the same. Some are heightened than others. Particularly viability risk, like ethical risk, and the interconnectedness of design and products, and the probabilistic aspect of generative AI in our work really changes our mindset for what is possible and what answers. Before, some things are binary. I do this, I expect this to happen. Now you do this, you have many options. So judgment is not just a function of logic, it's grounded in empathy and consequence. And so those things become more important, decision making, judgment, and deep thinking, than ever before.
So, as you said, Christian, AI is becoming more like co-creators, like AI co-pilot and co-creators. And you also raised about ethical concerns. So my question is, where will be the human judgment come in picture? And where will be the AI decisions need to be pushed back? Let's give in a scenario that if AI roadmaps or any roadmaps is co-authored or co-created by human plus AI, then which ethical constraints you think should be really, really hard-coded in the system?
We talk about ethics Should we do it? Kind of the ambiguity around why are we doing it? Where did we get our answers from? What are the insights that drove it? I kind of think like AI can generate paths, but it cannot assign a purpose. The purpose is kind of assigned by humans. I am, one of my biggest fears around generative AI is that it becomes a substitute for deep thinking.
Yeah.
And people really, kind of the magic, historical magic about product has actually been in the people, in the
Yes.
constraints of, I understand our environment, our business, our customers, our dynamics, what's going on in society in real time and the impact of it. And I can leverage those things in the decisions I make on what we do. Like I said, it's just not the logic aspect that informs judgment. I was kind of talking with another product mind just earlier this week, and we were kind of talking about empathy. Suresh Doshi, and
Yes.
Suresh is kind of saying like, I don't know, playing with AI, and this thing is even more empathetic than more managers, more human.
Yes.
I have probed on some of the questions, and it's kind of rationalized its deep thoughts around it, which is awesome. You're seeing some of that aspect of it. However, my concern has always been kind of around the edges of judgment. Maddie always talks about like the Waymo example. Like, if you're a self-driving
Yes.
car, the choice of should I drive into a wall or should I hit a person? In that way, you can start to see where those things start to get very interesting. And the decision-making aspect, someone was boasting to me, I asked ChatGPT to give me 20 ideas for my products, and it gave me 20 good ideas. I said, why did you stop at 20? Why don't you ask it for 2,000 ideas? It will give you 2,000 ideas. Now you can really see that your work is not the ideation, but discerning which of those ideas is good for our customers and our business right now. There's a lot of judgment in that, a lot of meaningful insights. Your product sense, your taste, your customer acumen, your business acumen has to be heightened more than ever. AI is going to cheapen data, it's going to cheapen industry knowledge or expertise, but it's definitely not going to always be able to determine what is good for humans and a business within the constraints of an architecture and an environment right now.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, then you put that very nicely, Christian, because I've also seen AI, especially the writing assistants, they have a particular language they use, the form, the content, the style. I have now gone from using ChatGPT and Grammarly to not using them for writing because I feel that that does not convey my emotions onto a paper, which is what writing was intended to do. I convey my emotions onto paper, and then that paper goes to somebody, and then those people read about it. Similarly, for product management, I think the journey started with when we all read Inspired. That was back in 2008, Marty, and then we had you writing about Transformed,
Yes.
So how is the journey? And Transformed was still, I think, last year?
Yes.
When it came out, and then probably AI, this Gen AI was still a bit coming up. So now if you have to write Transformed or if you want to transform organizations, how would that be? What would the MVP look like? What would our full-scale product look like? Or what does transformation mean in this new AI age?
It is actually very empowering if I could appeal to technology leaders and executives around the world. Many companies rode the wave of the internet in creating, there were companies called internet companies. You guys don't remember this.
Yes.
Many people don't remember that was a name. And now you're getting companies called AI companies. Nobody calls themselves any of internet companies anymore. It's kind of now, but you had many companies that had to transform to using a digital distribution. Blockbuster versus Netflix. You see those kind of things in the world. Many big companies, every company now talks AI, AI, AI. For the first time in a long time, there is this ubiquitous technology that resists the incompetence of a business. Meaning, there are many business leaders today that are like, AI is super cool, but I don't really know much about it. I know we should do it. We want to compete. Everybody's talking about it. It's everywhere. I'm old.
Customers are asking.
Customers are saying about it. The world is so. What is this doing? If you think about what many transformations in companies are, is you're shifting the role of technology from a subservient, we do whatever the business wants, to a collaborative, we work together to solve a problem. There's a power dynamic in many companies. The person
Yeah.
that controls the money, the business that funds it, sales, operations, all of these people. For the very first time in a long time with AI, technology people have a magical sense of competency. People are looking to them like, so what are we going to do with this
Ah,
AI thing? Oh,
they are not the back office.
that's right. They're like, they will, how much is this going to cost us? They don't have a clue. They don't, what should we do? So if I think about the leverage in transformation that we probably didn't have to talk about a lot last year, is that every executive or CEO has their tech leader at the executive table answering the same question today in every company. Kind of like, so what's our AI strategy? What should we do with AI? Many people will treat it like a technology project.
Yeah.
And I'm challenging many companies to treat it as a transformation product, as a means to change the culture and the mindset of the company in how they work. Meaning you want to bring your technology people to the table in solving problems for the first time for the company and maintaining that relationship. Not like, oh, it's a project, we now did AI thing and now it's done, we go back to the way it was until the next cool technology comes out. You're trying to say, I was talking with the big bank the other day, say, look, you guys are trying to do an effort with AI. They're like, we have a problem. We don't have any good data to feed any of this money. We have not cleaned up our data. So the first thing we have to do is do a whole effort on cleaning up our data. And I said, imagine if you truly had a technology strategy, you would have been cleaning up your data before this.
Yeah.
Take advantage of this wave. And so the real magic is not how you respond in a big project to do it, but how you change how you work, how you shift how decisions are made, how you empower teams to work together to solve problems, to leverage technology. Today, I will use AI just as a conversation because I know executive teams care about it. But the real value of the transformation is not in how you leverage AI today, but that there will always be emerging technology tomorrow. And would you be the company having this meeting where you're all scrambling? So what do we do about it? Or would you be one of the companies leading the charge, beating your competition in the future because you now know how to use technology? You see? So that's kind of a big piece.
Wow. So, Christian, looking into the future, I have a question about, let's say today is, we are imagining it's 2035, so 10 years from today. How would the team look like? What is the product team composition? What roles and skill set do we see will be becoming prominent and we should start preparing today?
Oh, it's a good question. So I kind of called out earlier that I think delivery, product delivery, building, deploying, testing will be the most disrupted with Gen AI in the product discipline. We're already seeing companies, that will say, it used to take me 6 months of tech debt tackled in weeks. Companies doing things that 10 engineers used to do, doing with 3. Already seen productivity gains in testing, in automation, in deployment, in instrumentation, in co-piloting, in writing code. Companies that are boasting 40% of their entire code is written by AI or AI agents in some. What I'm also hoping and truly excited about is the cognitive load. How much an engineer needs to keep in their head, reducing. Now, I'm hoping that we're trading that off for better thinking, not for laziness and relaxing, but because now I don't have to keep a lot of things in my head because I have AI to co-pilot. I'm hoping autonomy increases because the dependencies are going to reduce. I don't need to work with 50 teams that own different components to do stuff. AI is owning 10 components and it can work with me very quickly and I can get and pull and exchange. My goodness. So I'm excited about what will happen with more autonomy, more sense of ownership, meaning I can own more things end to end because, some of these components, because we used to have some things that one engineer just owns to manage one little tunnel. You're going to find those things quickly move to kind of AI solutions supporting those things.
So I kind of have a follow-up question for that, because we're used to this mechanism of building multi-year, multi-quarterly roadmaps. Does that philosophy of having a ongoing roadmap, which is sometimes a torchlight, things
Yeah.
closer. And we've heard a lot of that. Does this still hold true, or do
I
we?
I don't know
I'm
how
not
it does.
sure.
I really don't. I mean, just remember, think about this is the reason people like roadmaps is the predictability. I need to know in some ways, are we working on the most important thing and when are we going to get that thing? Okay. And I've just said building is going to be cheaper than ever. Building stuff. I just did a training workshop where in real time I said, someone should, we came up with an idea. I did prototyping, framing, testing. I mean, all in like an hour. I built a whole product all the way to an MVP, co-piloting with AI, just to kind of demonstrate. Now, this is not production-based product with testing and scaling and stuff like that, but I could bring evidence of whether an idea is good or bad, or a roadmap item is good or bad. Something that may have taken a team weeks to do, I was able to do in minutes. So
And I
your
think pricing,
yeah. Am I going to predict 3 years ago in an ever evolving wall of AI and technology what we're going to build 3 years from now? Most of our ideas are not going to help. They are not going to work,
yeah,
even more so than ever. So discovery is going to take center stage. Business acumen will probably be the new technical skill. What
yeah,
I'm calling out here is that if you think about what makes a good product manager, a deep knowledge of the customer, the industry, the business, the data, the product, industry expertise, you
yeah,
can co-pilot all of that with AI. Data, you can inform. AI can help you analyze. You kind of have your baked-in industry expert, your baked-in product analyst. But do you know what is good for a human within this context and environment right now? Do you understand the nuances and the crazy of our business and who is approving my paycheck and the drama and the thing? Oh my goodness. Those inferences are hard to
Yeah.
manage. Decision making, business acumen, EQ, those things are gonna,
just be there.
yeah, be more
Yeah.
important.
I know Satya has a question, but then I think I wanted to ask you a lot about, what, and you talked about emotional quotient. And so I just want to dive deep on that, product intelligence. What
Mm.
kind of product intelligence do we need? Human, organizational, or a lot of artificial things?
No, no. I mean, this is I don't think it's about tech IQ. I
Yes.
think it's really about context IQ,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence. If I were really trying to think about it, organizational intelligence, emotional intelligence, kind of knowing how to influence, how to align teams and align work, how to navigate
Yeah.
complexity, the politics of an organization. If I'm playing into the future, like you said with your
It
writing,
would be.
AI
Yes.
almost makes everybody a good writer. I mean, my daughter sent me
Yeah.
an email last night making a request for like little money for school. And I was like, who wrote this email? She's like, I checked. Like, how for $20? You see what I mean? And I'm just like, it's going to every report, every request, every business case is going to be,
Yes.
companies used to hire those big consulting firms to write a good, compelling business case with charts. Just imagine everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let us play out a world where those things that you thought were secret sauce, the deep analysis, oh my goodness, the insights, like everybody can do it. So, but now the politics of what to do is very more important because
Yeah.
imagine you're a CFO thinking, what project should I fund? Every business case is world class, high quality with good data. You're like, okay,
So
you
and
see,
and so Satya, remember we had Mark Stiving on our podcast. So Mark is a pricing expert. And he also spoke something very similar of contextual based. So although that was in context of pricing, but he said that the value-based pricing is now moving towards context-based pricing. What
yeah,
is the context at which you buy, or what is the context
that's right.
at which the
That's
value
right.
comes in? So yeah, that's what's happening a lot.
And speaking of writing, I now somewhere thank that I'm done with my PhD thesis where I know there
Yes,
was no chat GPT, but I wish it was. But it's
yes,
both worlds, right? I know that no one will doubt my thesis that it is written by a chat GPT because it was way before it even existed. But on other hand, I wish it just would have made my work much easier. That would have taken 6 months to write my thesis, would have taken just under a week, and could be very different.
Right.
They have both sides to the story. So
That's right. That's right.
so you spoke a lot about intelligence, Christian. So if you had to decipher or say deconstruct intelligence, let's say the political aspect is one thing when we say about organizational intelligence. What are the pillars or what are the like if you deconstruct it for layers or pillars or whatever you want to call it, like what would be together will constitute an organizational intelligence, for example, for someone who is learning about product management or want to become one?
Well, we used to often talk about smart people, and we say, we know a lot of smart people that don't think in some ways, and intelligence as its own quotient is not a prerequisite of good outcomes in some ways. The art and craft of our discipline, we kind of say it's an art and a science, because yes, there is some very baseline intelligence. I'm always picking EQ over IQ, because the self-awareness, self-management, empathy aspects of our job are really the magic of. This is not about, people say you just want a good problem solver, and I say, well, no, I want a good collaborative problem solver. Everybody has that family member, the one that is very good at, my light is broken, fix my something. But they don't work well with other people. They are very good at fixing things, but they leave me alone. I got it. Like they are not. And in the world we do, it's a team sport because our risks are just beyond.
You're talking about my grandfather.
There you go. We all have that person, that we know. They are very good. They can solve a lot of problems, very handy. But, there's a collaborative aspect of this. Like, can you work well with others? Can you identify what you do not have or what you need other person to bring? Like, it's almost like you talk about your grandfather. He's like, are you the plumber? Yes. Electrician? Yes. Can you fix everything? They'll go fix it and do it themselves. But the world is kind of saying like their skill sets, it's like soccer or playing football. Like, sure, the goalkeeper can kick the ball, but like, there are some people that are better at kicking the ball, so you have to pass the ball to them. So there is some aspect of this intelligence when we talk about self-awareness. There's a competency that says, I can do the job at the level you expect, but I also to ask for help, and I know what I don't know. There's an intelligence that understands, I recognize that getting my product to the hands of my customers means that I have to work with a bunch of different people, tackle risk. I don't also have to give them delight. That's not the only reason to make my customers happy. It also has to work for my business. And my business is not a human. Businesses don't care about people. Only people care about people. My business is defined by all of the people that work within this company that are protecting our revenue, our brand, our reputation. So like, I have to navigate all of those things. So you can see that there's some tricky nuance to it. It's not just about building things. It's about building things that customers love in a way that works for your business. That's what makes it a hard job. It's not, I tell people all the time, making customers happy is not hard. Just buy all your customers a boat or an airplane. They will love you. But we can't do this. We can afford it. Finding a way to make them that happy, like you bought them a new house while making us money, is what makes it a hard job. You see? That's a different kind of intelligence. Yeah.
You've given us a lot of metaphors, Christian. So I'm going to extend it and request for more metaphors in context of product sense. So maybe it is outside of technology or inside, or like if you had to describe product sense in different metaphors, what would be your favorite ones?
Okay, my favorite is because I know you all are in Asia, and you all have very good food, and I love food too as well.
I love this.
All good food, and I'm sure you all have, given your societal context like mine coming from Africa, a grandparent that is a fantastic cook and chef.
Yes.
Your grandparent, did they go to school for culinary arts, chef design kind of stuff? But have you ever watched? Think about product sense from the lens of a chef. My mom is in the kitchen. She doesn't use any recipe book. There is no step one. There's no process, no framework, no guide. She has a sense of, these are the ingredients.
Yeah.
This is the timing. This is, I taste the soup. It needs a little more of this. Are you seeing this magic? This is what product sense is. This is beyond the recipe.
Yes.
Are you see? So think about your anybody. If you just watch them in the kitchen, because you've seen a chef, and don't get. I have a chef that has been learning from my mom. She still runs to a recipe book. She still, it's almost like the years of doing it. There's magic to it. Product sense, you call it product sense and product taste. There's some sense of I know what is needed here. I can discern what is good judgment. I know what is missing. I know the right timing. I have this gut intuition. Oh, it's been cooking too long. Your mom, turn off the stove. You're like, how did you know? Lower the fire. Are you seeing all of those things? There's a magic in that kitchen when they are cooking the food. That is their chef's cooking sense. But they also have that taste. You see, like you can bring something to your mom, say, Mom, how is this? Like, add some more curry to it. Add some more. You're like, holy Lord, how did you know this? And they just get it every single time. So, many people try to make it feel like it cannot be learned. It's a magical gift. But you have so many grandmothers that are so good. Most people learn from the people from their parent. You're probably developing your cooking sense right now from your mom or your grandmother because you're spending time with them in the kitchen. You're looking at all their tricks and all their stuff, So most product sense comes from the manager. Should be coached from getting out of the building, from being with your. It's the same way like your mother gets better. They cook together with other ladies. They talk. They explain. This is the same thing. Our discipline. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And so
Wonderful. Go ahead, Amit.
and we want to talk a lot about the product sense, and then but then you mentioned about Africa, and SVPG is at the forefront of bringing the product management scene within Africa. You have those conference, you have the communities, and I think you are leading that effort. I'm curious about Africa of all, to say the least. And then I definitely want to know more about how product management is shaping up there and how SVPG and Christian, I think you're leading it
Great
there, which is
question.
fabulous.
Yeah. Matty has been doing this for like 40 years, and he has memories of classes 20 something years ago when you see founders of companies like Alibaba and Tencent and some of these big where students learning in some ways in his class that are building ecosystems. There's been traditionally kind of the wave in terms of how technology disrupts societies. The first wave you probably experience a whole lot in India or Asia or China is the talent drain. You lose all your wonderful smart people to better jobs or emerging markets in North America or Europe. They all like move, I'm going to go get a job in America and work at this company. After a while, these companies recognize, oh my goodness, we have a lot of smart, talented people coming from India. Rather than bringing them all here, what if we build a hub in India? See, that's the second wave. But the companies start to build their institutions in those markets. But if you think about what they are doing, they are still building for the world from India. The third wave is where, you've now developed the ecosystem. There are many amazing smart Indians that are saying, you know what? We can start to solve our own problems in our market for ourselves. We're going to have our own version of WhatsApp, or like you have WeChat in China, or our own iPhone. We're going to build for our own society. There is some fundamental vision that we have of accelerating that third wave for societies like in Africa, and because it doesn't happen organically as we would like, because it's not for lack of smart people, it's not for lack of talented people, it's not the people. The ecosystems and the environment don't have enabling technology or access as other societies do. And in our world, our biggest leverage we can bring is knowledge. There's not a Silicon Valley of Africa. So you don't have like, I built Google 5 years ago, I'm going to now build my next company. Like, you don't have an ecosystem of entrepreneurs and success stories that fuels the coaching of a next generation of people. So the catalyst is for us to kind of take the learnings and the failures and the stories and bring them to catalyze that market, to accelerate innovation in the ecosystem. And that's kind of what we're doing. So we the work in my foundation, we focus on community, we focus on capital, we focus on coaching. So I connect a lot of people like yourself that have experience, build that. There are many tech founders that are like, I don't know how to do pricing. What do I do? They go Google it. Or they, if I have access to the internet, I go research. I see 5,000 different ideas. I don't know which one is good. I'm going to try this. It fails. I try this. I got lucky in that way. 1 hour of
Yes.
a conversation with you, Amit, can
Yeah.
quickly, like, oh my goodness, provide clarity, accelerate getting the best decision.
Yes.
So we want to do a lot in connecting the African ecosystem with people that have been there, done that can get coaching, guidance, and advice. That will stir up good products coming out. Once you have a good product and a good product culture, the people that you hire learn from all of those things, now become the next entrepreneurs that build new products and good culture. And we want to foster that community. We are trying to organize the product discipline in a manner that is compelling. The good thing about having very kind of early environments like you might have in Africa is that you have the opportunity to start with best practices if you can, than have a society evolve with failures of process. Like, can we skip all the learnings of failed agile?
Yes.
Thing that you
That's
see,
that.
because many they would do it the same thing. Like you're like, hey, we've done that. Why are we gonna go there? The books are old. Let's start with the latest book on how to
Yeah.
do it and evolve society like that. So that's really the exciting work we're doing in Africa. It's such a humbling effort that all of SVPG has been supportive of that ecosystem.
Yeah.
They've all been in the mark in Africa. They give their time and effort. So really honored to be doing that.
Wow. It's like leapfrogging what you're doing with the
Right.
society. And
Yes.
I can only imagine like in 2 or 3 years or maybe some years that we would look up into, okay, these are the mistakes now they are doing, which is coming from future to us.
Yes.
Like because you've already built on top of what's already a very good foundation, and we would like refer that, hey, this is something we should learn from.
Right.
I think that would be a good book to read,
Wow.
and also a good community to follow for us to learn more.
Absolutely.
Well, I like the fact that they get to miss the agile thing as they grow up.
I don't know, many companies will not be happy with that.
But yes, and I think it would be nice to be associated, and if any which ways can help these people, help the communities there,
Yes.
leapfrog, it would be good to do so because I think there's some amazing talent coming out of there. Sports, technology,
Yes.
a lot of amazing people. So, yeah, if there is an ecosystem being built, it would be great to contribute that in any which ways. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And now, Richard, we always, people always think like, well, do I have enough experience to give back? I tell people just take one call and let it blow your mind that all the
Yeah.
wealth, knowledge, all your stories, your experience, your expertise, it makes a difference. So we're always
Yeah.
looking for coaches. We're always looking for connectors in that market. Africa is the youngest economy in the world. People kind of talk about it, they look at all the problems. I always look at all the opportunities. It's like, I'm like, oh, it's like 14 of the top 20 least developed countries are in Africa. I'm like, yeah, but the top 5 fastest growing economies are also in Africa. It's like,
Yes.
oh, they don't have internet connection.
Nigeria.
All of Africa. And I'm like, yeah, but they have 11 unicorns that are tech companies from that. Imagine if you had more people on the internet. It's like you can almost see just the magic of what has been accomplished with so little in the stats. Yeah. Yeah. So amazing what a future generation of the world could be if exposed to proper coaching, community, and access.
I'm mostly following the agri-tech because of my life science background. So the precision agriculture and all, how they are being practiced and how, because most of our environment are tropical. So I can get into that later. But in summary, that I'm following the agri-tech adaptations
Mm,
and how it's evolving the future of making food, basically. Yeah.
yeah. Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
Okay, so I think what we want to also go towards is more on how do we always talk about either roadmap or task or a story or a very specific thing to develop. However, more and more as we see systems evolving, we also need systems thinking. So now when we say that we have to move towards systems thinking, to think not just about your product but also about the business that it is bringing, about the customers, how they're perceiving it, how would you help someone who is ultra focused on task execution to evolving into system thinker?
Oh boy.
Well, that's one of my favorite. Or Satya,
Uh,
you're saying that in a give advice to Amit.
No.
Well, and I think the best definition I even heard about a framework was you're trying to package the intuition of another to kind of accelerate better outcomes. And many people fail to do that because they focus on the packaging and they focus on the process than on the intuition, which is kind of the how I got to that thinking. And I see it when companies really try to talk about scale. They're like, oh my goodness, Amit, you did a great job in solving that problem. Write down that process you used so that we can make everybody do it exactly so that we can get that same outcome. However, what the best companies do is they say the best thing we can do is to create thousands of people like Amit. Because if we get more people like Amit, we will get good types of solutions like that. That feels like a harder way, but it's the best way. When I do transformation, I try to explain that it's really about mindset and culture, than it is about process and tooling and reorg. And, and I try to describe to people what that culture, that environment is, what that mindset is. The idea around it, the magic behind it is not the process. Process is not the thing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-process or is evil. There's not a binary right or wrong here. But when you realize what makes good products are the people, it's kind of like me saying, if you want better engineering, don't work on better engineering process or frameworks. Have better engineers. Are you seeing, like, if you want better product management, don't work on better product, which is, it's kind of feel, if you improve the product manager, you will get better product management. It's not by improve. You see, it kind of, I'm going to improve the process and the framework and the workflow and the tax flow and the tools and the systems and I don't know, the kind of way if I were trying to describe it, I guess in today's world, there's no amount of agile or AI that can fix a trust deficit.
No, can't do that. Yes.
There's no amount of process. If I don't trust you, I don't care what you put in, what methodology, what framework. I'm like, I don't like Ahmed. I don't want to work with him. You are not talking today. Nothing will happen. You see what I mean? And so you need to kind of elevate the understanding of how value is created, how solutions are built, to a place where you're like recognizing the secret sauce behind it. And it's not what the process or the methodology or the framework or the tool was, but the people behind that. They worked together. It's like, we collaborated. Why are you going to focus on what tool did they use to collaborate? That must be their secret. Collaboration just means we solve the problem together. What worked for us may not work for you, but it was more important that we work together to do that. And so if I can figure that out, what was key to us working together? That's the deep intuition you might want to package up to help other teams, accelerate. It's often a tough thing to coach. It's a very deep, high order thing, because many companies want to scale. They want to replicate their success. They want to, once they find out what works, can we hit the button? Repeat, enter as many times, copy, paste, and hopefully see something valuable. It's tempting.
Yeah. And in fact, I think the hardest group to train and change are the executives. And we all know that. So in my very limited experience working with executives, it has, especially in our side of things, it's not very hierarchical or top-down leadership. Does the leader say it? Does the leader approve of it? Does the leader say it? As leaders, they have become vulnerable to change. So they are resisting to change. And Christian, how do you deal with it? You've, Marty, probably worked with more executives than anyone else in the product world. So
yeah.
And
Look, Many people even ask me a flavor of why many leaders kind of fail in providing good leadership in many ways. If I'm walking backwards, I will argue that probably one of my number one reasons I have found is that most leaders have not experienced good leadership themselves. They are
Yeah.
often giving
Profound.
people what has been given to them.
Yes.
My last manager screamed at me, so guess what I do? I scream at you. My last manager just told me this is how you do it. Look at me, I became a successful executive, so I'm going to pass it on. And unfortunately, one of the biggest flaws in a corporate environment is that the second you become a manager or a leader or an executive, there's this false belief that you can no longer say things like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I need help. I made a mistake. It's like almost like there's this cloud of like perfection of like, you have to have all of the answers. You have to know. So, when you pick up something like strategy and say, why can't a leader do strategy? Because they've never done it before. And then the people are pressuring them for strategy. You know what they go do? They go hire one of those big companies. Come and do our strategy. And you know why?
Yes.
Because if the strategy is good, they'll be like, see, I was smart enough. I brought in the company. We worked on strategy. If the strategy is bad, you can blame them. That company gave us a bad strategy. But what has never happened now is that our leader has never gotten good at doing strategy themselves. They've got good at hiring a company to do strategy for them. You see? So think about behaviors like that. I always tell people I don't explain these things to excuse poor leadership, but I explain to hopefully try to instill in people that a lot of poor leadership is ridden by the insecurity, the imposter syndrome that so many executives face, that is masked and hidden from so many people in how they exude leadership. One is command and control on one end. The other is hands-off delegation leadership. I'm going to do whatever you want and give me your status.
No.
You see? But real leadership is leaning in, is by context. I'm going to give you as much information to make a good decision. I'm going to empower you. I'm going to create an environment for you to do good work. My friends, not a lot of leaders have experienced this themselves. Their career.
Yes.
30 years in a company, never experienced a good leader or manager. So guess what? They don't even know what it feels like, what it looks like. I mean, when I coach leaders all the time, people say, why are you doing this exercise? Why are you doing it? I say, sometimes practice is not just about building new muscle. It's about knowing what good feels like.
Yeah.
It's about knowing what it, because then it's like, how do I know I'm doing it right? Does it feel like it did there? It's like when I practice coaching with somebody that they're like, oh, this felt very safe. And I'm like, so if somebody's not feeling the way you felt right now, they are not getting coaching.
Yeah.
If somebody's not sharing how you shared right now, and unless you experience it, it's so hard to know if you're doing it right or wrong, right? So when I coach a lot of executives in product, I recognize where they come from. It's like, and I try to tell leaders all the time, I am not teaching you how to be a leader. Like that is, you've grown in this company, you're probably good, but to be a product leader is new muscle. There are some things you may not have experienced before. It's like learning, to play a new sport. You can be like, I am the best basketball player in the world. I say, but we're playing football. I'm not going to teach you how to be an athlete, how to pry and wake up. That's what you're good at. You're an athlete. But you're telling me to teach you how to play football. There are different rules, different strategies, different things. So I have to separate in their head, like, because there's an ego with it. Why am I humbling myself? And what I do now is I make people write with their non-dominant hand on a piece of paper. I say, doing the right thing means having the courage or willingness to do it poorly at first. And I have to get leaders to understand that. Like, because if you...
What a thoughtful experiment that
You
is.
see what I mean? Because you're going to realize the handwriting. It's like, that is what we're doing here. It's okay. It's not going to feel easy. It's not going to feel, but that's why it's mindset. The second I can unlock that in an executive, like, okay, you're not teaching me like how to write. Like, you're not saying, you don't know this or there's something flawed. You're literally saying, we're shifting our culture from writing with this hand to writing with this hand. It's going to be ugly. You're going to learn new muscles. You have to practice. And that's what this is all about. What has gotten you 30 years of success as a business is not going to be as competitive in the world of AI anymore. We are going to equip ourselves with some new skills and muscles in order to do that.
Yeah.
Boy.
As you say, I'm writing with my left hand, and yes,
There you
it is
go.
difficult.
It is.
You know, having the courage to do it poorly at first. That's the whole idea of change. Good.
Just doing it. In the first is doing it.
It's doing it. In the process, doing it. Yeah.
This has been wonderful, Christian. And
My pleasure.
I know many people would also reach out to us to ask, how can they reach out to you? So for our listeners, how can they know more about your work and how can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can follow our work on
And about your work in Africa too.
yeah, svpg.com, InnovateAfricaFoundation.org. You can reach out to us on any of those channels, kind of to see our work in Africa and the work we're doing all around the world with the product model.
And if you could leave one product artifact for the next generation leaders, or a guide of sorts, or a book of sorts, what would you suggest?
Oh boy. I mean, if probably in the leadership stuff, I tell people when you become a leader or a manager, your products are no longer the things you build. Your products are the people under your care. And the same discipline we have for building products, discovery, experimentation, testing, mindset, getting it better. Imagine if we could do that for people. It'd be the best type of thing to leave behind.
Well, it's been so nice talking to you, Christian. It's
My
nice, I think, is an understatement. We've uncovered so much. You're full of wisdom. I love what you do for Africa, and I really like your honest and fearless approach when you coach leaders, because I think they are the toughest of the lot when you are transformed. So yes, that's such an insightful thing for all of us and for our listeners too. So thank you for that. And we hope to see more and more books, leadership, thought leadership coming out of SVPG through you. We've all grown to that, and we would love to see the way it shapes the direction of product management in the coming years to come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our highest honor. Thank you all for having me. It's been a wonderful time to spend this time with you.
And that's the wrap of our episode of the Priceless Conversation. And it has been quite an amazing episode, quite humbling and also vulnerable, because leaders are also vulnerable at many, many places. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and your story.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
And for our audience, stay connected, stay curious, and build what really matters.
Wonderful. Good. Thank you.